All right, welcome back. This is round 3. We're 1-1. We did win the die roll. If this was a non-duel, I would consider keeping. But I think as it is, this is just too tenuous. No cantrips, only 1 mana. It's wastelandable. This is the opposite problem, but that's fine. Keep. I think we just bought him a fetch land. I doubt this will confuse my opponent, but it does show, or they could potentially think we're something like Maverick. Might not matter. Okay. We're probably getting turn 1, like, something. If we survive to turn 3, Oko seems good against what this deck's doing. But looks like my opponent has like turn 1 card. Huh. Well, okay. They have access to 7 mana next turn, so... Oh! What the... Okay, now I'm legitimately confused. A morph. A morph in a colorless deck. What could it be? Who knows? We have a fetch land on the bottom of our library, so it doesn't really make sense to fetch or not. Okay. I was about to say I really want to know what this morph is, but I realize I will figure it out no matter what. When the match ends. God, what do I even... Elk. Like, they're going to get to untap these things. What could I possibly... So they just get to untap both monoliths. I really don't know what the play is here. I just feel like elking a monolith or something just doesn't really take them off of a relevant mana total. Like, they're going to have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 mana the next turn. It's not what I wanted. Possibly I should have used this fetch. I don't really want a swords. I already have the blocker for the 2/2. I'd rather just find more things. Does Teferi do anything? The answer really just is no. I'm gonna look for like an arrow or something, I guess. Potentially could also look for like a Force of Will and then elk the defense grid. And that could be, you know, my plan to not die to something. They clearly don't have anything, so they're top decking. So I feel like a force is pretty valuable. In that instance. The second mode can't be blocked. Seems very reasonable if you've got nothing better to do. Okay, there's a force. I guess I'm just going to do this. So part of me is a little nervous to let the morph live, but I think I just want to keep the maximum amount of loyalty on my Oko. So I'm going to switch to 3/3. I kind of just anticipate that I'm going to be elking a lot of my opponent's stuff, and so keeping the Oko alive as long as possible seems pretty reasonable. All right, so what happens now? If I elk the Basalt, they still have potentially have 6 mana to make both things unblockable, and then Oko dies. If I elk a key, they can make one thing unblockable. Could just make a food for now. Alright, I'm just gonna make a food for now. I just don't think I'm cutting them off a relevant enough amount of mana by doing this, and I just don't want Oko to die. It's the same predicament as last turn, huh? So I elk one thing, they make it unblockable. Then I elk the other one, and then what happens? Oko's at 2, they have, yeah. Okay, I'm just gonna start attacking, I think. Yeah. So at a cavern, okay, let me see what this card does. Okay, so it's a land that taps for colorless, and then it can be morphed. Okay. Alright, reasonable. Okay, so luckily I have the super secret strats for this matchup, and that is to board in your Null Rods. Pithing Needle names Karn. You can name keys. Cage, they likely play Mystic Forge, so Cage is good there. Bring in this. And call it a day. What am I cutting? Obviously the Veil. I think Terminus is bad. Leaving all the forces. Basically, you're just only getting to like a high impact card. I'm going to trim some swords. I think most of the time they're not going to be useful. Can hit like a walking ballista. That's about it. And then I think Teferi is the worst of 3-drops. The things that you bounce, they can just kind of replay pretty easily. And the passive is not that useful. So this is going to be high board. Suppose they could play Ensnaring Bridge, and then that would be an important card to bounce. This doesn't have a Force of Will or a Null Rod, so I'm going to mulligan it. This has only 1 land. All right. What does it keep? What do I bottom? I think it's Labe and Ponder. And then I know I don't have green mana for this, but we're going to hope. Possible I wasn't supposed to force that, and then just defense grid it the next turn, or wilt it, but I didn't know if I was gonna draw green mana. I think I just saved this for Mystic Forge. And so in the end, maybe the Force was a little silly, because next turn I could have wilted and then held up Force. It's kind of the same. It's the same against Mystic Forge, but it's much worse against Karn. It's the same against turn 2 Ugin, which I don't think I can beat. I'm probably just going to concede. Suppose I have a Pithing Needle in the deck that I can draw. Alright, I guess I'll play on for a bit and then see if I can't find a Pithing Needle in time. Like I'm going to just die to these tokens, unfortunately. But I could not do much about that. Man, turn 1 Force, turn 2 Null Rod, not even close to good enough. That's crazy. Right. What did I bottom again? I bottomed a Ponder and an Astrolabe. Those are both cards I'm fine drawing. So I'm going to get a Tundra, and then I will cycle this. I left up this because there's 4 Astrolabes I can draw, but only 2 swords, so it's a little bit more likely that I can do this turn. Does this have an ultimate? No, right? It's just +1/-3, and then the passive makes your stuff a little cheaper. Yeah, I have knots. Good point. Oh. Okay. I don't think I want to change anything. So I will just submit. Might be a little more liberal with my keep next time. I would like to play first. I guess I don't have to be. This has a force, lands, and back to basics. They mulliganed too, so helps obviously. So we're going to ponder. We're looking for things like lands, Null Rod. This seems fine. I might pitch Uro. I might pitch See the Truth. I'm not sure. See the Truth is a cantrip, so that's always really nice. Right, this time I'm going to let it resolve. Again, I don't have another card in hand. I'm just going to cast the See the Truth here. I know the top card's a land, so I want to fetch it away. And if I'm already fetching it away, Brainstorm isn't as good. I guess I will take the Brainstorm here. I guess we just hope their next turn isn't that good. And then we play out the back to basics. I guess one thing I was not thinking about was Chalice of the Void. That would have been a reason to play Brainstorm over See the Truth. I can just F6 to this turn. Alright, so I could hold up Forest. This is only taking them off 1 mana. And then if... Alright. I think that's better. I think it's fine. I think I want to take them off. Like, I want them to tap this for something that I force. And then I will play the back to basics next turn. I mean, I don't want to force this, so I'm not going to. They have Ugin again. God damn. That is so unbelievably frustrating. Just like the only possible punish was defense grid, 3 more mana, Ugin. With 2 defense grids, I think we are not going to worry about it. Alright, so I'm going to do this and then play the Null Rod. And I know it shuts off this, but that's fine. Okay, and then we're going to hope that Uro can race this Ugin. Which may or may not be true. Do they have a Karn too? Oh my fucking, that is so unlucky. It's like the only card that's relevant right now. Guess you could argue that's why you play back to basics, because these were already tapped. I don't know. I don't think that's correct. All right, so second Null Rod, I think we can toss. What to toss next is very hard. The problem is I need white for the Karn. I'm just going to toss this, and then I'm going to fetch a Plains. And then I'm going to Brainstorm now. Well, I have to Brainstorm now. There's a defense grid in play. My opponent finds another soul land off the top. I'm kind of screwed. As it stands, I'm taking 4 damage. Alright, so I think the plan is to Judgment the Karn. play the other Uro. Yeah, my opponent I think just had the absolute nuts where they had 2 defense grids and then, or they had a defense grid and then the only way I was punished for not playing back to basics was they needed to have 3 more fast mana out of hand and another defense grid and an Ugin, and that's what they had. So there was not much I could do there. I'm supposed to play this back to basics. It's possible. So I'm taking 6 next turn down to 5. I think I need to play the Ugin and just, or the Uro, and just try my hardest to find another green source. And then after the Ugin, like the Karn follow-up was like the only thing they could have that punishes me, and then they had that too. So it's like I think my decisions were correct because they give me the best chance to fight back on the board and actually win the game, and they lose to only very specific things, but my opponent just had those specific things both times. Yeah, and now I just lose to the board, I think. Like, even if I draw the land, I go up to 11 and I take 10 the next turn. I just don't have any way to come back from that. Yeah, okay, and if they didn't have this morph, I would be fine here too, because I could snap. Yeah, that's a very, very frustrating loss. Oh well. All right, we'll brush it off and then play out the next one. All right, we are back for round 4. We're playing against Daniel Nunes, who's a well-known Slivers player. This matchup's pretty close. It's another tribal deck where I kind of wish I was playing more copies of Terminus, but we'll make do. This deck has a little bit less card advantage, and they're weaker to like things like back to basics than the other deck is. I think Goblins is, I should say. So I think those are 2 points in our favor. think the plan is to go turn 2 Coatl, turn 3 Oko, and then we can start brainstorming and stuff after that. Which one we want to block is actually an interesting question. Because Oko's making Elks. I think I just want to do this. Yeah, they always have the option of saving it. Good on them. So because they have the flying one, and because I'm so flooded, I think I just want to brainstorm some lands back. Oh, that's really frustrating here. Can't do anything about it. So I think we're going to take 8. And then play the Coatl. And then we're going to hope to find a Swords of Plowshares for the Striking Silver. And yes, they can bounce it to return it, but... But at least it lets us get in 1 block versus their guys. So what does this do? Flying and haste, okay. I think we're pretty dead here. You know what? I probably should have played the Coatl first. In case I draw Terminus. Okay, so what am I blocking? I think this was a really annoying one. I think this one is the most power. And then this is kind of the most power because haste is like more power. Okay. Obviously they have the choice of what they want to return to their hand. Which might just be everything. Which I'm kind of okay with. Pretty sure I cannot get out of this. Gonna brainstorm and just hope to find like Terminus plus a way to miracle it. Alright. Yeah. Rough game. The first Drake Sliver really blew things out of the water there. Alright, but again, we have some stuff. I don't like going too overboard because like this is kind of the only artifact they have. Yeah. Alright, I think this is fine. Priest is nice because it stops Null Rod, but it can also block if you needed to. They do play blue cards, but between Crystalline Sliver and the one that pays life to return to hand, it's kind of hard to actually kill any of the creatures in play. I don't know if I would want it more than anything else. Yeah. We have an answer for Pithing Needle, and we have Ponders to find mana, so I think this is a good keep. That was a slight missequence on my part. I should have put the Coatl on top so that I have the option to pitch it to this Force if I wanted to. I probably wouldn't because I think it's more useful than Teferi. I'm not sure. I guess it's irrelevant. Yeah. I think I'm just going to draw 2. I don't know why. I just feel like their deck is built around blanking this card. Probably should have countered that, huh? Since they gave me the option to. Yeah, that was a big punt on my part. I think I'm just playing bad now. I'm still a little salty about the last round, if I'm being perfectly honest. Yeah, that was a big punt. I should have countered that. And I don't think these forces are doing anything, so I'm just going to... Although... I could use this against the like an opposing Force of Will. So yeah. Feels worth it. So the big blowout for this play would be if my opponent happened to have either double force, double blue card, but really the blue black sliver that lets them return to hand. Looks like they don't have that, so that's good. I will reveal Terminus. I'll just fetch a basic planes to cast it. Happy I kept this force. And depending on what they play out, I'm probably not going to play the Coatl in end step. Just because I think it's more valuable as a surprise card. As a way to like kill this crystalline sliver. All right. That's rough. All right, now I think I will kill or cast the Coatl, because I think I'm going to try and ambush the striking sliver. a very good draw. All right, it's probably, I think the play right now is to probably just play Uro. It also handles the board pretty well. It's more mana efficient. It's also a good pickup. I might not show my opponent that I have this card in my deck. I'm going to try and win the game without it. This is never blocking. They just don't have flying, so I will attack. My opponent has a lot of good draws. Any Lord effect. Would have let him. Block and trade with my Uro. As it stands, it looks like we're racing. I think my opponent could have enough good draws that I just want to seal up the game. Cool. My opponent can't cast anything, and then I get to start hitting them. I think this is how I want to board. They won't always have Cavern to go with the Crystalline Sliver. Maybe Pyroblast is worth leaving in, or taking it, bringing in. We're going to try it over one See the Truth, and see how this plays out. They can also hit the 1/1 that gives them flying, which might be in, might not be in. I don't know. Maybe I just want both priests over the Null Rods. Yeah, I think that's just better. Null Rod is only stopping Aether Vial, and priest has the option of blocking. They showed a lot of 1/1 for strikers, so I think this is worth it. Happy I made the change before decks were submitted. If tribal decks grow in popularity, I'm probably going to want another copy of Terminus in my deck. Alright. I think this is a keep. We have a Force for the Aether Vial. We have some lands. I think I'm going to pitch the Back to Basics just because I already have a non-basic land and I already have another Mana Denial card. So I think my goal is to pitch this, ponder for a green land, play this, and then hopefully play this on turn 4. We'll see how it goes. Obviously, my opponent has access to their own Force of Wills, so this plan could go awry, especially if I force an Aether Vial. But I think Aether Vial is just so important for their early development, and also kind of gives them some play around my Mana Denial. So we will see. Now we have the option of pitching Force to Force. And then playing back to basics on 3. If we want this option. We wanted the basic forest anyway. And I think since, you know, we're going to be keeping at least 2 cards, we might as well draw the forest first. This is not enough to force, I don't think. I'll probably force the next creature they play, though. Aether Vial does just kind of let them ignore back to basics. Chalice of the Void. Oh my. Alright, so there's a Flooded Strand on top of my library. The question is, do I want it? I think so, because... yeah. Because it can fetch a Trop to cast the arrow. Because this needs to get a Plains so that I don't lose to my own back to basics. Lose is a harsh, strong word, but... Or, sorry, I should say, this gets the Plains, this gets the Volk. And then we call it a day. I might lead with Arrow, given my opponent's not doing anything. And they also still don't have mana, so like it doesn't really matter. Okay. They assume I will get to escape the arrow and do things before they can kill us. I guess they don't have a way to kill the back to basics. Alright, so we're 2-2 so far. I think we got a little lucky this round. Silvers can be difficult to deal with, and I think we just kind of ran well to draw our mana denial. So let's see if we can't pull out a winning league in Game 5, or Match 5. Alright, round 5 for all the marbles. And by all the marbles, I mean posting a winning record. Which is equally valuable. This hand's fine. I'm going to do this and hold up Spell Snare. I know it's my opponent's turn 1, but this is a format with fast mana. I'd hate to get like Chalice of the Void with this hand especially. Although Prismatic Vista kind of indicates that this is not something to worry about. Play this. I like the idea of going Brainstorm and end step. Or maybe it's just Coatl. Alright, yeah, let's get a Coatl going. It's nice to get some value. this turn. I think the Teferi is probably fine. Sword's probably something I don't need. It's also nice to run this out too because I had a Teferi in hand, so it gives me the option to bounce it the next turn and draw 2 cards. Although that's not really relevant now with having drawn Astrolabe. Looks like my opponent also has a Coatl. Ooh, maybe I wanted to Spell Snare that. I didn't really want to, but just because I already have the blocker for it. They could be playing more important things like Counterbalance or Sylvan Library, something like that. I'm going to do this. Though. Alright, I'm going to play this Teferi. Resolve very quickly. Could mean they have an Abrupt Decay or a way to kill my Coatl. But even so, it's still a draw 2. So I'm kind of fine with that happening. Black. Oh, maybe not. My opponent might be playing a Lurin. Yeah. Okay, cool. They might be looking to win the game here. Very possible. Having Teferi in play is really, really nice here. Just because it means we just get to do what we want when we want to. So I'm going to lead with a Coatl. We have a lot of options here. I really don't know how to play. So what I'm thinking is Cavern Harpy is the card we are kind of worried about. Oko could turn this into a green creature so that they can't return anything with Harpy. I don't know if that's what I want to be doing. Because they could have so many other creatures. I think what I would rather do is find more counter magic and more removal. So I'm going to start with this Astrolabe. And then I'm going to Brainstorm now. And I'll just cast this now. So we have the option to like instant speed Ponder into Terminus next turn, depending on what my opponent does. They must just have... I actually don't know what they have. I'm actually really struggling to figure out what they could have. So obviously start by plussing here. I'm going to start with a Brainstorm, hope to find a land. I did find a land. I still think I want the Terminus on top. I want to have like the option to Terminus their board at instant speed. So I'm going to go this. Oh, I definitely fucked that up just now, huh? Because I don't. Yikes. Because I don't have enough mana to do everything I want. So maybe in that case, it's just better to play. All right, so I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to play Uro. And then hope double Force of Will is enough. I'm going to leave the Spell Snare in the yard. And then just try to kill him quickly. Yeah, so that was definitely a misplay on my part. I changed what I wanted to do halfway through the turn. But I still think this would have been the better line even at the start of the turn. Okay. So they just didn't draw enough things to go with Alurin, and I think that Teferi hurt them. If this was the list I was playing before, it means they have Shardless Agent, which is also a card that Teferi just does a really good job of dealing with. I'm going to bring in a Carpet and a Veil. And I will bring in this. So I want this. This stops my own Uros, but it stops their Cascade into creatures. And it stops their Uro. I don't know. I will see kind of what I don't want first. Honestly, I'm not that big on Oko. Not that big on back to basics. I'm gonna cut the Spell Pierce. They have the Allurans, but most of their cards. I'm actually gonna trim on some swords. I think that most of their creatures just get value when they come into play, or are Cavern Harpy and can return themselves at instant speed. So I'd rather try to just deal with them on the stack. All right. Maybe Oko's better than something. Oko's better than something. Maybe Force of Negation isn't what we want. Again, they're a creature-heavy deck. Like, it's really only Allurin, and that's not even like the end-all be-all. Like, they play Allurin, and then we can still interact with the things they do. And it also helps us, like we do play creatures. Okay. Alright, I think this is how we want to play. Pithing Needle is mainly to name Cavern Harpy, because that's the way they usually win. This hand's fine. Allurin is not a deck that really plays Wasteland. Third land Brainstorm seems reasonable. What land do I want? Probably Misty, because it can fetch a Volk if I needed to. Feels like an Ice-Fang Coatl. So I'm still actually not entirely sure what the optimal play in these scenarios is. If we have any legacy aficionados that love to cantrip, you can let me know. But I want to cast this Brainstorm. I know the top card of my library is bad, but if I fetch it away, I can't Brainstorm and fetch this turn. I feel like the right answer is to fetch. So what am I putting back? Probably just this plus, I don't know. I think the card I want to hide most from discard is Carpet. It's just a good card. All right, they have their Uro. I think my play is to go Carpet plus Uro here. Or maybe Oko. No, Uro is better because it lets me play this land and hold up Pyroblast. So we'll make green. I'm just gonna do this. I think it's fine to wait till my next draw step to draw a card. Abrupt Decay. Well, now I almost want to try and find a Veil of Summer. I think that's better than seeing extra card. I'm just gonna put both of these back. Or probably better to put. Is it? They're getting arrows. Let's do this, and then let this happen. And then I think I'm fine fetching away the second Oko and my upkeep. So this is gonna get a Trop, and this is gonna get a Volk. Potentially. Now again, the only thing I can bring back are instants and sorceries with Snapcaster Mage, so. And I think leaving a Pyroblast this turn is more important than playing out the Astrolabe. I kind of want to play around Veil of Summer as best I can, so So I didn't want to Pyroblast the Oko. I also think it's not that bad just because I have another Uro. But now what to do with my turn? This turn is a little difficult. All right, I think I'm just going to name Cavern Harpy with this Pithing Needle. And then the shields are down on this Pyroblast, but they only have 3 cards in hand. And this means they can't infinite combo. I'm also kind of okay with that. So next turn we get to Swords the Uro, Pyroblast the Oko. And then we're still probably like in pretty good shape. So Swords this. I think this is good insurance. I'm going to start by attacking Oko just to see. Yeah, I should have just Pyroblasted it. I wanted to see if they would flash in like a Koala or something. That was foolish of me. I was thinking their life total doesn't matter, but the likelihood of them doing anything about this is kind of low just because their Oko still survives. Their Oko was at 3. I think that's like a much better play to attack first and then Pyroblast second main. Sure. So the nice thing about this is that they probably don't even want to block because as far as they know, it gives me the opportunity to get back my Uro. So now there's a land on top. Do I want to Brainstorm now? I think I want to Brainstorm now just because 7 mana lets me play an Escape Uro one turn. Alright, that's fine. We'll still have a good turn. We're going to play Uro plus like Oko or something. I'm gonna keep around the one that sticks around. It's kind of tough because there's 2 lands on top, and so I think this just resigns me to not playing the Coatl this turn, so I can fetch the second land away. So I'm actually going to attack for 3 here first. Because if my opponent blocks, I can turn it into an elk and then it dies. And if not, it's free damage. Alright, so we're going to start with this. Oops. And I've changed my mind. I actually want to draw the land. So now I can play Oko and still have Pyroblast and Force Blue card open, which I think is what I want. So they have the Veil here. I think before they draw a card, I'm just going to try and kill this. So Veil cycled and then effectively traded with Pyroblast, so it's still a pretty good card there. But I think this was still my best line. They have 6 cards in hand, which is a little bit worrisome. But my board, I would argue my board position's a good deal better. And the fact that they currently can't combo off is pretty strong, and they're a little bit a ways away from escaping the arrow, which is also pretty strong. And I have an active arrow. The list I was running only had 2 decay main and then 1 on the board. This is a new one. Yikers. I think I just let it resolve. They can kill. They get to kill Oko, and then the problem, or they get to kill this. But I'm fine with that though because I just get to escape it next turn. If they have a way to kill the Oko too, that's bad. They do. I still don't want to force. Yeah. Everything's black. So that's a little bit frustrating. Also, I have to play a little faster. My clock's running a bit low. It's a pretty good pickup. Might run it out next turn. Yeah, I think next turn I'll run it out. Just because I can't protect it this turn necessarily. My opponent does get to draw a few extra cards, but it's fine. Because we're at the point in the game where they get to escape arrow. Again. Feeling like we're gonna hard cast a Terminus. Or not. Well, okay, either way. Just going to attack Vraska. I'm not quite sure what to do with this, but I have to start playing fast. I think what I want to do is play Teferi, bounce this, replay it, name Vraska. And then the goal is going to be to... So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so I guess it doesn't really matter if this attacks, so we're gonna do it like that. Okay, so this play Pithing Needle, Vraska, Golgari Queen, and pass the turn, and then change my brightness settings, or my flux settings rather. It's getting pretty yellow over here. And I value keeping this Teferi in play more than I value getting the arrow, nabbing the arrow with this Terminus. Now, I do have to be careful about decking because right now the arrows are the only way to win the game for me. I guess there's like, you know, these little guys. Okay. Yeah, sure. Alright, so I have 3 cards at hand. I'm going to snap Swords the Arrow. And they have to have another card to go with this Harpy, or it just doesn't do anything. And I have double force, double blue card. Alright. Definitely have to force this. I'm going to plus this turn. Oh my god. 4th Decay. It's really annoying. Alright, yeah. Oh, I fucked this up. Oh my god. I was supposed to respond to this cast. Jesus Christ, that's so bad. Wow. They just let it. I guess they should have. I guess they knew that I was how I should have played. All right, so 4 decays. I'm gonna start playing really, really quickly, and then bring in. I'm gonna bring in the extra Veil of Summer, if I have a chance to. There's some chance I just see if there's like, there might not be a way for my opponent to kill me, with 20 cards in his library. So it's like, yeah, he can start doing this chain where he pays 1 life to draw a card. But I'm at 35. That might not be enough. Obviously, the fact that I am at fewer cards than library than my opponent. Oh, I'm going to try and force this. So this is a really awkward thing about Magic Online is I don't know if it's better to concede now for time purposes or see if my opponent can kill me. Because if I get down to like 4 minutes, there's almost no way I can win a game. But if my opponent draws too many cards, he might not be able to kill me in time. You know, because if you're attacking for 3 or 4 in the air at 35 life, that might not be enough. Especially if I start gaining life with Uro and not drawing cards off of it. It's a very interesting game. I think the one not mistake, but I think the one thing maybe I could have done differently is the one turn I plussed the Teferi instead of bouncing like Snapcaster Mage. Alright, so they found their Force of Will. Don't know why my clock was going down there. So strange. I'm fine with this though. Alright, opponent. I'm at 38. I should F6 still. Oh! That is a way to kill quickly. Oh, it's also a way to bring back Cauldron Familiar. That's awkward. That's interesting. I will edit this out and then shortcut. I think my opponent's just going to do this 30 more times and then kill me. And I will, it's probably going to take a couple minutes, so I'm just going to let him do that, and then I will come back when it's done. Alright, so my opponent ended up conceding. He couldn't finish the combo in time, and he couldn't play a match with 2 minutes left. And this, I think, is a weird spot. I think in a lot of instances, I would have just conceded to the combo, because we were about the same time when it started. But I think with my clock being so low, I didn't feel confident that I could play a third game in 6 minutes. So at that point, I'm just going to take my equity and take the win. So we went 2.5, we'll say. It is unfortunate that we couldn't finish the third game. It would have been really interesting. I definitely would have brought in my third Veil of Summer. And maybe even my second Carpet. And I think I think I would have been in a pretty good spot as far as like the way our decks line up against each other. But that being said, a reasonable showing for Miracles. I think the deck has some good matchups and it has some rough matchups. It kind of felt like I did not queue into that many of my good matchups. But that is Magic Online sometimes. That being said, the main thing I wanted to try out this league was See the Truth, and I feel like it performed pretty well. I was pretty happy with it. There was never really a time where I was like, oh man, I really, really, really wish this was a different card. Teferi performed okay. Whether Teferi should just be more copies of Uro, I think is still up for debate. And whether or not these red cards should be like 2 Plague Engineers is also up for debate. But kind of, we'll see how the meta develops. There was a recent companion change, and the banning, basically the ban like the Gruder's X. So we'll see how the meta shakes out, and hopefully I'll come back with another video soon. Anyway, thanks guys. Bye.